So welcome to the Generation Female Global Summit, and welcome to our first panel on female founders and leaders in the startup space. So my name is Shireen, and I will be moderating this panel today. And just to let you know, we do have a few panels running live, and some of them will run concurrently. So for those of you watching in the app, feel free to join in this session or join in the other sessions, or you can watch the recording later at your own convenience as well. So for this panel, our general objective is to showcase really a range of female founders and leaders who have set up or are leading startups across the world in various industries. We want to hear from them how they entered the space, what they've learned along the way, both as women and as leaders. And I'm joined, of course, by four very accomplished young women here, whose names you see on the screen right now. And I'll start by asking them to give us a bit of an introduction and to tell us a bit of their story. So I think I will start with Benedetta and ask her to introduce herself. Benedetta, please tell us what you do, what your company does, and maybe what problem your company is solving with its product or service as well. So let me...
Sure. Thank you so much, Shireen, for having me on this panel. And I'm very happy to be surrounded by other very successful women entrepreneurs. Hopefully there's always more and more of us. I'm the co-founder of a startup called Oval. Oval is an app available in Europe today that allows users to learn how to save and invest their money. We do this for the younger generation of young professionals that are starting their career, and they have not a lot of tools to learn how to manage their finances and grow their saving for the future. We do this through an app. You want me to go through the full presentation now, or shall I just let the others introduce themselves also?
I think you can go through the full presentation now, because we'll have more questions for later as well. So
okay, sure.
You can take like just 5 minutes and run through, and let me know when you want me to click forward on the slides and stuff.
Yes. So I guess you can go forward. So the mission of Oval is to build financial tools that actually the world loves. If you think about it, you never sit at a table and talk about your financial apps and or your banking app, and that's what we want to change. Next slide. 80% of all millennials today in Europe are delaying their financial decisions because they find it very difficult. And even though more than half of them are using online banking, they just use it for basic banking and not for saving and investing. So the things that they really care about are convenience and transparency in order to start managing their finances through an app. Next slide. That's where Oval comes in. We've created a solution that allows people to start saving and investing. Saving is done in a very dynamic way. For example, you can save every time you go for a run, or you can save every time you post on social media, as well as saving when you go to the restaurant. And so it's based on your habits, and it creates a lot of recurring saving, and it's automatically set up so that people really don't even notice how much they're saving every week, and they see that grow. Next slide. We then allow them to use this saving to invest in products in our marketplace. These products are generally passive investments that follow themes. We've noticed that this new generation really cares about investing in the companies that they believe in. So we have themed investments around we have, as you can see in the slide, creative thinking. It's all about companies that invest a lot in R&D. We have green economy and diversity themed products, and people select which products they want to invest in. Next. We then also have a payment solution that allows them to then choose to spend, when they choose to spend their saving, if they want to actually use them for a specific goal that they set in mind. Otherwise, they can also use the card, and the card allows them to save every time they spend. So when they spend, they get a little piece of their spending on top that goes into their saving account. Next. And finally, because education and financial education is core to what we do, we've created a coach section of the app, a little bit like your personal trainer for finance, where we allow you to select your tailored missions that allow you to create missions that you have to complete, and the missions are last over a few moments in time, and then when you completed all the missions, you get to a certain number of points that you can use to gain prizes. Next. We have a great track record, over 450,000 accounts created and over 118,000 monthly active users. Next. And the great thing is we have really solid economics because our customer acquisition cost is really low and the lifetime value of our users is very strong as they stick with us for a long, long time. Next. We also have a very, very strong community around the app on all our social media channels. We have over 1 million annual views, unique views of our blog. We have 25 million views on our YouTube channel and a lot of community members inside our different chats and groups on Facebook and Telegram, etc., that interact with each other every day and talk about how to get better at their finances. We're a team of 50 people coming from the best startups in fintech and not. And we have an ambition to continue to grow in Europe and become the biggest and largest app and solution for planning your financial future for the younger generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Benedetta.
Thank you.
So I'll next pass the microphone, the virtual microphone, to Xiaowen to give her introduction. And I think Xiaowen wants to start by showing a quick video of Shopee. So let me hold on a second while I share my screen and pull up that video for you.
Shopee, beep, 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 99 Super Shopping Day. Free shipping, ping, 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 ping. Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day. Shopee, beep, 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 99 Super Shopping Day. Free shipping, ping, 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 ping. Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day. Shopee, beep, 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 99 Super Shopping Day. Free shipping, ping, 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 ping. Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day. Shopee, beep, 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 99
Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day from now till 9 September. Shop now.
Hi everyone, I'm Xiaowen from Shopee. We are based in Singapore, but we are present across Southeast Asia and Taiwan. We are the e-commerce platform that have grown quite a lot over the last few years.
Okay, your slides are on now.
Yeah. If you were to move on to slide number 3, I think most people will be familiar with us in Southeast Asia as a place where you can really buy anything you want on e-commerce as an e-commerce platform. But beyond that, we also have a lot of entertainment for our user in terms of games, having live streaming, and having all the social features. Slide 4. We are currently present in all the major markets in Southeast Asia and also in Taiwan. Right? We pride ourselves as having a lot of localized strategy that capture the hearts and minds of our user. And we also offer you a very personalized, social, and engaging shopping experience. For everyone across the world, Southeast Asia currently is one of the fastest growing e-commerce market. This is where there is a lot of demand as our users in the region are getting internet and using their mobile to do their online shopping. So there's a lot of untapped demand for e-commerce in this part of the world. As an e-commerce platform, we are very mobile focused with all our users. 90% of our users are actually buying on their phone, not on the traditional laptop. And we don't just offer a platform for you to purchase or to buy. We actually take a very personalized, localized, and engaging the experience for all users. Yes, and we just had one of our very successful shopping day across the region and broke quite a few of our records.
Well, thanks, Sean. That tune is going to be stuck in my head for the next few days, I think. So next up, we have Kate from Eldera. So Kate, I know you have a video too. Just bear with me one moment while I get your slides out first. 2 seconds.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Sharon, and thanks for hosting this and having me here. So our company is Eldera, and we actually launched in March at the beginning of lockdown. And my partners and I are spread between New York, France, and Italy. And what Eldera is, we call it a virtual village with a real soul. And we are connecting generations, adults 60 and older, with families across the world who need help, whether it's learning English or spending time with their child and reading, having conversations. And so we're now in 15 countries and I think 40 states in the United States. We can go to the next slide. So Eldera, while it started in March, for each of my partners and I, we had our own driver. And for me, I'd worked in actually on climate change issues in law, policy, and business, most recently at Tesla. And a couple of years ago, I was moving to Europe for family reasons and looking for a transition, looking for something that was more tangible and direct to help people. And I was at a talk 2 years ago with an artist, Ai Weiwei, and it really resonated with me. And he said, you know, today we know so much in the world, but we care so little. And we have so much technology, we're so connected technically, but really disconnected. And so that is actually at the core of Eldera. And we can go to the next slide. But unlike, Eldera is the first intergenerational platform in the world. And it is a social platform, but it's not social media. We are connecting people who are in different geographies, different communities, different generations to really deeply connect and have real relationships. So, and the driver also is about the older generation. I know, especially in the United States where I'm from, we tend to push people out of our communities and of the workforce at a very young age. And unlike other cultures, we don't look to them for the wisdom and guidance that they really should be delivering to all of us. And so that is the core of Eldera, to really share the wisdom that everyone who's lived 6 decades has in their skin with the next generation and really help us have a better future. So we can go to what we're doing on the day-to-day. And so we have a few key services right now. The first one is we connect the elder mentor with the family who has a child from age 5 to 15, and we set them up for one-on-one conversations all over videos. And we connect people intentionally who are not in the same community. And we have, people in Vietnam, China, Latin America, right now largely working with mentors in the United States, and that's for our vetting purposes. So all of the mentors are background checked and vetted by us. We also hold what we call fireside chats, which are mini live TED Talks. They're very intimate. We have no more than 100 people. So we have the mentors and the families and the kids join, and they get to ask people from astrophysicists to artists to writers, questions about their life and their journey. It's a really unique experience to have this direct access to these individuals. And then finally, we have another community group, which is our mentor council, where all of our mentor elders come together to help us figure out how we can help them better, how we can help them build deeper relationships with their mentees, and also giving them a social and educational virtual community for each other. And we also have a social platform that we've created for the mentors, excuse me, which is a private social community. Now I think this is all kind of feels a little two-dimensional, so I wanted to share this video that we have to give you a little bit of taste. Music is not quite as fun as Shoppi's, but hopefully you'll get a feel for it.
Let's see, Mac. There you are, Mac.
Yeah. But the mother says, it's time for your you-know-what. But of course, Olivia is not sleeping at all.
I understand empathy until I was maybe almost 50. Empathy is, I'm going to try to feel the way you feel. I'm going to try to see if I can get a sense of how it is to be you.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And he happens to Good.
Hi, thanks again.
Okay.
Bye.
That's Eldera.
Great. Thanks, Kate. And last but not least, we have Vanessa from Rebel Activewear. And Vanessa also has a quick video to show you, so bear with me as I switch my screen around. 2 seconds.
Hi, I am Vanessa. I am 32 this year. I'm a pole dancer and I've been doing pole since 2011. I'm one of the co-owners of Rebel Activewear. We were founded in 2016 after I left my full-time job. At that point of time, I had been poling for about 5 years-ish, and I noticed a huge gap in the market in terms of pole wear. And everything we had in Singapore was imported either from US, from Europe, or from Australia. And I found the price points were a bit high for the quality, and there wasn't a lot of variety at that point of time, and pole was just kind of starting out in Singapore. So I thought, hey, why not, just dive into the market and try and create something that I would wear and share my love and passion for the sport with everyone. Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa. I'm really honored to be here to share my experiences with you guys. So as you can see from the video, I'm one of the co-founders of Rebel Activewear. But being on a tight budget, being as a co-founder, I actually mean I do everything. So my partner she's basically a bit of a silent partner now. So I've been taking on the roles of marketing, operations, and designing strategy. Everything is on my own for now. And I had no experience coming into this. So it has been quite a wild ride for the past almost 4 years now. Yeah, and I'm pretty impressed that I actually made it this far. Apart from the products and the problems that I wanted to solve was, as you saw in the video, about the expensive products, because at that point of time when I started pole, it was just kind of like a really niche market. It still is, but it was even more so then. And there weren't many options for us. And I thought, I had just left my job, my desk job that I was quite pissed with. And it's like, I'm the consumer, so I know this industry the best. So why not try something completely new and see how it goes? And now, here I am. And I mean, apart from the products, I think the most important thing that I was really proud of was the fact that we managed to build a really strong community. I've got people coming up to me saying, thank you for starting the brand. Thank you for making us feel empowered in this sport. And this was something that I felt was really close to my heart because, knowing how pole dance is stigmatized and people don't really have such a great impression of it, it was even more important for us to stick together. And that's how I felt that, using a brand, creating a brand would be a great platform for like-minded women to come together to share our passions, and not just as pole dancers, as friends, as mothers, as daughters, yeah, so that's why I started Revell, and I'm pleased to have made it this far with such a great community support. Yeah.
Thanks, Vanessa. So as you can see today, we have quite a wide range of young leaders from a very different types of brands and products and services being offered. So I think I just want to start by asking I know for all of you have very impressive CVs, and this really wasn't, your first job or your first, the first time you're in this industry. So I kind of want to just open the floor and ask you guys, was this your original ambition? Why did you make this career switch? How did you end up on this current path that you are on? I see Kate, your microphone is on, so I'll just invite you to start first.
Great. Now I'm probably among the oldest here. I'm 40 years old, and I've had some amazing professional experiences. And this was, it was about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, when I thought, I really want to start my own business. And as I mentioned, I've been a prosecutor. I led energy policy restructuring the electric sector for the state of New York. And then really got into tech and innovation, and got to experience that at Tesla. But it's I think the best advice that I would have for somebody is you are going to evolve and change throughout your life, and your passions and opportunities are going to change with you. So with respect to Eldera in particular, I didn't know what it looked like. I knew the components that I wanted in my next challenge, and the pieces came together in a really perfect way that allowed me to just say yes. So that's been my journey.
Great. What about maybe Benedetta? I know you have a wealth of experience across a whole range of different startups as well. From Uber, Zalora, and stuff.
So I actually worked in Southeast Asia in e-commerce also. I decided that I wanted to learn from others first, so worked at different startup companies that gave me, though, the opportunity to feel a little bit like a founder. So it would allow me to make the decisions in my markets, even though obviously I wasn't taking care of funding and the larger strategic decisions of the company. And that, though, gave me so much experience to learn from other founders. I was working directly with them. And me too, 4 years ago, decided that I needed to start sending on my own. If I didn't do it now, I wouldn't do it anymore. And so I left Uber to start Oval. And the other thing is I have co-founders, and I think this is something that for me has been really important. I chose co-founders that come from different industries. They're specialized in the more tech and design, etc. And they all also worked in startups. And this has allowed me to really grow the company and to have a team next to me of decision makers for the company that is very, very strong and that I can learn from them every day.
And is there any particular reason why you chose to focus on the future of fintech and banking and finance?
So first of all, it's a big problem and it affects everybody. It's interesting because actually the idea didn't come from me, but from one of my co-founders, but I was still already kind of working in the same area, thinking about that space. I really like regulated markets because I feel like innovation is harder. So there's a little less innovation happening because it's really hard when you're regulated. And by working in transport with Uber, it was very clear that regulation can sometimes stop innovation. And so I wanted to work in that market. And then I felt like me and my co-founders had the same problem ourselves. We didn't know how to save our money, invest it, see it grow. And so we wanted to really build something, first of all, for ourselves. And then we started building it for our network. So yeah, that's how I switched.
Very interesting. Thank you. Maybe Shawan, I'll invite you to go next. So I know that you weren't always working in e-commerce. You used to be in consulting. Why did you make this career switch?
Yeah, I think I like everyone else here. I think I have a stable job in consulting, professional, but there's always this itch to do something more. So I think at the time when I joined Shopee, it was just 2016. The company is just 1 year old. It was a big bet that I'm making on the company and on the macro factors of e-commerce, right? I think there was, already a lot of indicator that, e-commerce is going to take off a big way in Southeast Asia, where there is a big growing middle class population and a lot of demand for online shopping, given everyone's getting laptop and mobile. So there was a big gap in the market, and I think it was a combination of, I was a bit, bought in the professional consulting line. There was a need to do more. And I think that's where we joined as a startup and then got where we are now.
Cool. And while I have you, I just wanted to also pick your brains in terms of the e-commerce space. I mean, what trends do you see? E-commerce has benefited enormously from the pandemic. How do you see it continuing to improve or change? Because I see that Shopee is quite in the forefront of things. You already have these like gamification, things like that. What's next?
Yeah, I think e-commerce, as I say, is already on an upward trajectory. I think this pandemic across the world really accelerated this movement from offline to online. I think for Shopee, we care about both sides of the platform. It's not just about the consumer, but also the sellers, right? Especially for my work where I take care of the seller ecosystem. We are very cognizant that, for sellers, we need them to be selling in a sustainable way. That is where we come in as a partner to our sellers, where we see them as how do we grow and how do we give them the tool to build a sustainable online business. We spend a lot of time developing different tools, giving them different data insights, and helping them to improve their operations so that this becomes a long-term sustainable platform for them too, not just us. And I think on the buyer side, we shared a bit about how Shopee is really all about not just buying, but also engagement and personalization, right? I think in Southeast Asia, we see that our users are not just really using this as their main source of entertainment. Just some example, during the circuit breaker, we saw a 40% increase in the time people spend on their app, and we saw a 40-time increase in the number of live streaming where sellers are trying to reach out to buyers via live streaming. So I think this social shopping experience will continue, and it will come. I think more users will also adopt to this social shopping experience, especially in this part of the world.
Thanks, Shawan. And for those of you joining us from Italy, Shawan mentioned the circuit breaker. That is Singapore's equivalent of the lockdown, basically, when everyone was just stuck at home. I mean, personally, even in Hong Kong, where I work for a media company, we found that our digital engagement, it just went up when Hong Kong was in its own, form of lockdown as well. And now I'll just move on to Ben. Maybe you should tell us about, your last job and how you came to switch to this one.
Well, nothing in my past led me to own a business. And so I actually majored in history and English literature in university. And then I went on to join the military, where I was in for 10 whole years. And after a while, I thought, I wasn't really fulfilling my passion. I was asked to do more desk jobs instead of being operational.
So I just wasn't too happy. So I left, and I really believe in finding your own happiness and creating your own opportunity. So I left, and then I thought, what better way to be happy than to make your passion a career. So that's and at that point of time I was pretty serious in my pole dancing endeavors, and there was just no better time to get started, and there was no excuse. There was no I've got a full-time job, I can't do new things. There was no excuse anymore. I just got up and got going, had no clue what I was doing, but I just went for it. And I think that it's been quite crazy for the past 4 years, but I've learned so much, which I think I will probably be sharing more with you guys later. So that's how I think I kind of stumbled into it, to be honest. It wasn't like I wanted to do this all my life, or I had all these dreams of becoming a business owner. Or it wasn't. It was just kind of a, hey, let's do this. Like, wake up one day, let's do this, and yeah, here we are.
Thanks, Van. I think that's a common thread. Like, when do we know what's the right time? And maybe there's no right time to jump into a new opportunity, and you're ready when you start it, essentially. Anyway, time is running a little tight, speaking of time. So maybe Vanessa, I just want to ask you quickly, if you could just in 30 seconds let us know what lessons that you learned in building a brand from scratch.
I think the most important thing is to be really clear about your company's value add and what you can bring to the market. And once you have that really in your mind, you will know how to go about the steps will kind of just fall into place. And you have to play to your strengths. Like you first have to know what your strengths are and then play to them. And for me, as just an example, I know my strength is in writing, and I had a bit of an art background in school. So I played to that, and I channeled this into social media marketing to build my community, into making my designs from scratch. And I think what I learned was that it's okay to start small. It's okay to have just one bra to put on the market, and you start somewhere. I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned.
Thanks, Ben. So I do want to shift back to a bigger picture question, and just ask you guys to quickly give me your thoughts on what challenges have you faced as a woman leader. Has it been especially difficult as a woman for you, and how did you overcome those challenges if you face any? Maybe Benedetta, do you want to start? I guess finance seems the most masculine industry.
Yeah, both finance and tech are very masculine, but actually I must say that I have a lot of mentors and co-founders that are males. So I've always found that there is an advantage in being the only girl in the room because people remember you. So for me, it's always been a way of changing the conversation from it being an obstacle to it being an opportunity. We are one of the fintechs with the most number of women that use it. Usually fintechs have less than 20% of usage of women. We have over 40%. And if you think about it, finance is a market where it applies to both male and female. So we're actually, by being more careful around this topic, we're getting bigger chunk of the market. So I've always seen it as an opportunity, and I've never worked in a place where I felt that there was a big challenge. I think that the great thing about tech is that it's very much tries to create opportunity, and it doesn't matter where you come from, what color is your skin, what's your gender, and that's why I love working in tech.
Thank you, Benedetta. Kate, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I've worked in in energy and politics and law, and there have been primarily, I'd say more male than female community, I haven't particularly noticed any, I don't feel that my gender has come into play, quite frankly, all that much. But I do think in the startup world, what we're missing is more female investors. I think understanding the diverse opportunities that are there requires a more diverse investment community, and I think that's growing. So looking forward to that evolution.
Thank you. And Ben and Vanessa and Shaowen, I know you guys are both mothers to young kids as well, so maybe you can tell us a bit about how you're balancing everything.
Yeah, I think for me, Shopee has always prided itself as being inclusive. So there wasn't any artificial ceiling. It's really about the quality of the work, and I don't have any issue having my voice heard or work recognized. But I think as a young mother, because tech is inherently a very fast-paced, very competitive industry, there is a lot of commitment, motivation, and trade-off that I have to make as a young mother. So I guess for that, for me, it was very important for me to prioritize and make trade-off, knowing that I can't do everything and I can't be everywhere all the time. And I think actually being a mother has helped me to prioritize, knowing which are the meetings that I should say no. How do I work my time around what is the best for my baby when she was young, and thinking about actually being very vocal in asking for what works for me. Just an example, in Singapore, we have 4 months of maternity leave where you are completely off and you are not expected to work at all. I decided to go back to work after 2 months because I wanted to use the last 2 months and spread it out over the year of my baby first year. Right, I think it was a thoughtful, it was a decision that I made, knowing that I do want to be with my baby. I do not want to go back to full time immediately, but at the same time, I feel that it's important for me to still stay engaged at my work. I think this is an example of nobody has done that in my company, but the company was willing because I asked for it. Right, so I think for me, it's very important for me to learn to ask and try before thinking that it's not possible, just because no one has done it before.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I totally feel that. I mean, women these days are kind of like expected to do it all. We're supposed to like keep the home up and then have careers, but then I think the most important thing is to know that you don't have to do it all alone, and it's okay to ask for help when you need it, and having that support is important. It's not weak if you feel like you have to prioritize your family over work, for instance. And I'm lucky to have had really strong family support, especially from my husband. And I think I don't know if you recall, but in the video, I brought my baby along to my photo shoot. So that is also one of the perks of becoming your own employee and your own boss, that you can, I have that flexibility. So I think it's important to know your limits and not burn out. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, ladies. When Anna and I were planning the summit, we thought 30 minutes for a panel was, more than enough time, but feels like I didn't have enough time to ask all the questions that I wanted to ask. But I think this has been a very interesting session. What I've taken away from it for sure, timing. There's no perfect time, but sometimes we just need to go for it and ask for help if you need, or ask for that support. It's not impossible until you've tried it, right? And then, this idea that being a woman is also your advantage because you stand out in the crowd. So use it to your advantage. But I think the underlying theme is also that it's important for men for men to be our allies as well and to support us in this process. It's not just something that we can do by ourselves. All right, so thank you very much. And just for those of you watching, if you guys have more questions to the speakers, I think you can message or contact them through the Generation Female app as well. All right, ladies, it's been a blast, and I'm going to end the session now. Thank you so much again for joining us. Sorry I had to make this really quick. All right, thank you guys. Bye.